to our Spring Can Connect event. My name is Gail Alexander, and I work with Anoka County Social Services and also have the pleasure of serving on the Compassion Action Network board. This is our first experience using Zoom for such a large event, so bear with us if we have technical difficulties. Um, Compassion Action Network, just to let you know a little bit about us, is a collaborative effort of the Anoka County Human Services Department, faith communities, and local nonprofits. And we really seek to work together to creatively address community needs in Anoka County. With each event that we host, we hope to create a space to have meaningful conversations and to inspire action. I'd like to introduce my fellow CAN board members. So if you are a CAN board member, have your video on so you can wave when I say your name. We have Kathy Palm, who represents Anoka County Human Services.
Hi, everyone.
We have Sue Vang, who is from Lee Carlson Center, and I don't know if she's, there she is. Okay. Ellen Raker from St. Williams. Mary Jo Loftus from St. Catherine Drexel, and Courtney Miller from Fridley PD. Thanks, ladies. A couple of housekeeping details before we get started. We've muted everyone except for the speakers. So if you have a question or a comment during the presentations, if you could use the chat function, and we will be sure to address those during our question and answer time, which we'll have at the end of our session today. If you want to leave your cameras on, that's fine. It's totally up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. If you are using a corporate VPN, something like Global Protect, if you could turn that off because it's not required for this meeting and it can slow down our connection a little bit. And also to let you know, we are recording this event, and so we will post it on our the Compassion Action Network website. So. To introduce our topic today, our topic is overcoming isolation, caring for ourselves and the seniors in our lives. One of the effects of the current pandemic is that our worlds have really shrunk. Who we can see, when we can see them, how we can see them, and for how long we can see them has all changed. Unfortunately, this has resulted in increased isolation for many of us. I recently heard a statistic that said that seniors who experience isolation, for them, it's the equivalent of smoking 17 cigarettes a day. That's really significant. So today we're going to learn some ways to overcome that isolation and have an opportunity to experience laughing, yoga, and mindfulness exercises. With that, I'll introduce our first presenter. It's Jill Adjicum, who is the coordinator of Anoka County's Family Caregiver Connection Program. Jill provides an array of services which seek to support family caregivers, connecting them to the services and resources which they need in order to care for their loved ones. Jill has a master's degree in family counseling, as well as 20 plus years of experience working with seniors. She's a skilled trainer, and we're fortunate to have her with us today. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. It's so good to see you today. Thank you, Gail. So I just wanted to take a second to just say thanks for taking time out today to join the Compassion Action Network this afternoon. And I've heard some stories about people coming in from gardening and doing those things. So I just like to start out by just taking a deep breath, right? Deep breath in and just out, and just kind of center yourself so we can be present today with each other. So I'm going to just take a minute to share my screen here. And we're going to start this slideshow. And again, we appreciate you bearing with us because this is the first time we've done this online, this training online. So as Gail said, I've been working with seniors and family caregivers for over 20 years. And it's really my passion, working with seniors and family caregivers and finding and developing innovative services to keep them supported as they age in place at home or as they transition to other care settings. So we've all, as service providers and just people in general, we've all had to pivot, right, during this pandemic. So, so I just wanted to spotlight a few different services and what they've done in order to pivot. So senior centers, I've heard a lot of, they're making personalized phone calls, checking in on individuals to help lessen that isolation. They're connecting a lot of people to different service providers, looking at those individual needs and making sure that their needs are addressed. They're offering online classes. One of my favorite things is the parking lot bingo. I think that's just an ingenious idea. And also, you know, continuing to serve people meals by having them do the curbside pickup. Now for me, the senior community living centers, I'm talking about assisted living, I'm talking about memory care and just senior apartments. And so for me, working with people in those settings, but also personally having 2 family members who moved into long-term care settings and then all of a sudden COVID struck. So personally knowing how challenging that was to go and see them, but also, you know, trying to check in to make sure that their needs were being met. So, so what I've heard from caregivers and also experiencing myself with my 2 family members is a lot of services were being conducted from the doorways. So for example, my mother had physical therapy and they were doing that from the doorway. But the greatest thing I think that made a huge difference for both my mother and brother was there was a staff member going around and playing music before meal times at night. And in fact, one day I was visiting my mom, doing the window visit, and she just, you know, we were on the phone together and she just put the phone down and said, you know, I gotta go, the music guy's here and I don't wanna miss it. And, you know, good feeling because I was glad that she enjoyed that and she was settling in, but kind of felt like, wait, this is my time too. But just amazing how they were thinking outside the box. And also the individual chaplain visits, and they couldn't have big community Sunday services. And I really think a lot of places did a great job of making sure that residents stayed connected with their family members through Zoom calls, through FaceTime, and through phone calls. So transportation services, that's a huge thing. And I have a niece that works for a rideshare program. So talking with her about, so how did you pivot during this pandemic? And she said, you know, it was really just trying to transport people individually. So only one client at a time, sanitizing everything after each trip between each client. I know one different rideshare program created specialized air filters for their cars so that the air would be filtered. And then they also had these plastic partitions between the driver and the riders, and everything again sanitized in between each ride. So if we look at Meals on Wheels and food shelves, you know, they had to pivot so fast. So they were scheduling individual appointments where people could go in and have their food needs met, and then also drive-through distribution services. I've heard with the Meals on Wheels program, they were having doorstep deliveries. So, you know, having coolers outside and having their meals delivered there, sanitizing the delivery bags, both inside and out. And of course, doing those health checks with their volunteers. So making sure that their volunteers went through those COVID symptom checks. And faith communities, and I'm sure a lot of you could speak to this better than myself, but I know their online services, faith communities had to pivot to online services, recording those services and having them available to view afterwards. I've heard of drive-in services, the curbside meals and food distributions. One of the churches that we partner with does that every Sunday, where people can go up, drive up and pick up Sunday meals. And then also churches becoming COVID vaccination sites. So these are just a few services for seniors. You know, working for Anoka County over 20 years now with the Family Caregiver Connection Program, I really think Anoka County has wonderful services to help support seniors. So the Anoka County Community Action Program provides chores and more. They do the senior information line for Anoka County. They have the senior kinship program. They also have senior outreach workers that can go out and help connect people to services, which I think is really important. I think oftentimes people are a little afraid of the systems. And so if they can connect to somebody that can help guide them through, I think that's so important. Again, and they pivoted, right? They had to do a lot of their services through phone-based and only visiting people when necessary. And the Anoka County Adult Protection, I know, you know, I work in that unit and they definitely had to pivot and doing some of that investigative work, you know, through phone and things like that. But also, like, I think people don't realize how much adult protection does with connecting people that need the services who are at risk. They connect them to other services like the Family Caregiver Connection, like ACAP, and just making sure those seniors are supported. Then of course, Anoka County Senior Services works hand in hand with a lot of the other programs, making sure again that seniors' needs are met. I'll talk more about the Family Caregiver Connection a little bit later here. The Anoka County Retired Senior Volunteer Program, of course, had to really flip during this pandemic. And again, I know there are others on the training that know way more about that, but you know, doing those one-to-one check-ins with volunteers, making sure that they were okay through the pandemic. Local senior centers, we reviewed that. Tamarisk is one of the in-home respite programs that helps people at the end of life. And so they were doing phone calls versus direct in-person visits. Impact Services is one of the Meals on Wheels programs that serves Anoka County. And they were looking at, they did, of course, the doorstep deliveries, but they also have a family aging education program that really works with, I would say, targets adult children and teaches them how to have those difficult conversations with family members. And they also have the Voices of Impact choir, which is a dementia-friendly choir, and it is phenomenal. Many of the clients who join into the Family Caregiver Connection Program are part of that choir, and it's just amazing that through the pandemic, the director of the choir sends out daily emails to keep people kind of uplift their spirits, but also has weekly meetings, and they get to sing online. And it's amazing with memory loss that people will lose their words, but they will know the words, all the words to the songs that are familiar to them. So it's a wonderful thing to witness. And of course, Alexandra House, I think some people don't realize they also serve seniors who are affected by domestic violence, and they have wonderful support services for seniors going through abusive situations. And they also, you know, had to pivot and do many things from phone-based and online platforms. So these are just, I'm not going to go through all these, but these are just some support services for seniors that Kelsey, who works with me, Kelsey and I connect people to as they're looking or dealing with chronic illnesses with their loved ones. And if you'd like any more information on specific groups and support services for people, just let me know. All right, so the Family Caregiver Connection, we really, just like everybody else, did that hard turn pivot to make sure that our caregivers and their loved ones weren't isolated. So we switched to one-to-one counseling services being offered by phone or being offered online. We do access assistance, which is information and referral, and we're able to do that through email, online, or over the phone. And telephone reassurance calls, just those check-ins, like, I noticed, you were having a hard time the other day, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. We were also able to keep some of our volunteers engaged over the course of this pandemic. Our gathering site coordinators, and the gathering sites are our group respite sites. When we actually meet in person, we have 5 sites where caregivers can bring their loved ones and receive up to 5 hours of respite. And our coordinators really wanted to stay engaged with our clients, and so they do bi-monthly phone check-ins with the clients from their sites. We also, and Kelsey was instrumental in adding this service. She developed a pen pal program, so we connected our respite volunteers with our participants, our gathering participants. And Kelsey's done an amazing job matching personalities, and we received so much positive feedback about our pen pal program. So kind of going old school with that. We also do group sessions online. So Memory Cafe is where we have the person with memory loss and their caregiver attend. I chose the painting picture. It's kind of an inside joke, but when we're together, we do a lot of painting and people groan, but it is amazing that the artwork that is created, and just how we hear the positive comments afterwards. But online we've had singers come in and sing different music. We've had photographers share his photography. We've had people share their trips from like somewhere in the United States or overseas. We do these things called armchair travels, where we find different resources and people travel with us to different destinations. We also offer support groups. So we have 1 phone-based support group a week and 2 online support groups each week. We created the virtual respite program. And Kelsey leads that and facilitates that program now. And Patty Nelson, who you'll see soon, helps us by first providing the exercises for the first part of our respite program. And then based on the theme, Kelsey does activities and games based on those themes. We also noticed that people were really down this fall and winter. So we created a thing called Game Day Saturdays. And so just a really relaxed 1 hour a week on Saturdays where people can come and we play games and do trivia. There are some great templates out there for Jeopardy and Family Feud, and Kelsey was phenomenal at finding those and getting people engaged in the games. So now I would like to introduce Patty Nelson. And as I stated before, Patty, she does laughter yoga with us. She does that with our caregiver support group. So we can have people come to the group and just really stressed, and Patty's able to help them relieve that stress. So Patty is a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and she is certified in laughter yoga. Patty focuses on simple ways to help people live happier and healthier lives. So Patty, I will stop sharing so you can share.
Thank you, Jill. So as Jill said, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I discovered laughter yoga when I was in graduate school. It was a beautiful June week, and I had an intensive 5-day program. It was 9 to 5 every day, integrative services, and we're all sitting there waiting for a speaker to show up, and they're not there. And then we're informed they're in traffic, and the room's getting a little agitated and a little irritated. And one of the faculty from the University of Minnesota stepped in and said, "Hey, everybody stand up. We're going to do laughter yoga." And within minutes, the energy in that room changed. It was positive. We were laughing. People had tears rolling down their face. The speaker walks in, and to much their delight, we are all ready to sit down and listen. After that experience where I saw the energy change so dramatically, I knew that was something that I wanted to add to my toolbox. So I became certified in laughter yoga. And I had the pleasure of being able to bring that to the family caregiver connection after I met Jill. So I came the first day with my mom, who has Alzheimer's, who didn't want my dad to come, was very nervous. And we sat around and gathered. And the speaker of that day mentioned the benefits of laughter. And I was able to share with Jill, hey, I can do that. I can bring that to your group. I was a little uncertain how it would go, but I showed up for my parents' memory cafe group and started the laughter yoga. And I knew it was a success when I looked over, and my dad, who both Jill and Kelsey can tell you is a very serious man, was laughing so hard. And the whole group was laughing. And we started the meeting off with the laughter yoga. And then I stayed. And the conversation was about humor, funny stories from past and present. And that energy stayed the whole meeting. So I had the opportunity to bring it to Memory Cafe, to the caregiver support groups. And then COVID happened, and Jill's like, would you do it online? And I'm like, yeah, let's give it a try. And I thought of my dad, and I thought of him caring for my mom, and thought he needs to laugh. So that was my incentive to come and give it a try virtually. And it was incredibly successful. Needed to make some adjustments with it. I added some props to it. We spotlight me when I speak, but keep the volume in the background so everybody can hear, but not feel like they're on screen in front of everybody else. And so that first group, again, my dad was laughing so hard. And I knew this is something that I can do and bring to the group. And so it's so fun to see, knowing personally how stressed these family caregivers have been during this time, how isolated, to be able to see them laughing so hard. So today I'm going to be doing some laughter yoga with you. I could go through the benefits and I could go through the research of it, but what I would like is for you to actually experience those benefits yourself. So as we get going with laughter yoga, it's important to know that you don't need to be laughing for real. So you can fake it till you make it. Your body doesn't know the difference between real laughter and fake laughter. So I encourage you to join in with me, and to measure our benefits, we're going to stop for just a second and think about, what is your mood like right now? I know a lot of you said you left the outdoors to come in and join this indoor Zoom. Think about what your energy level is right now. And then perhaps, what is that level of skepticism you're feeling right now? And just make note of those things. So remember, as we get started here, it's fake it till you make it is going to be our motto. I encourage you just to join in. I'm going to start off with screen sharing. And this is what I use with the seniors to kind of get them warmed up. So as I share here today, there we go. We have our lovely Pomeranian with her head out the window, smiling, happy as can be as the wind's blowing through her hair. And this is to warm our smiles up. Our next photo that we have is the most adorable little orangutan, just gazing up at us, that little smile and that crazy hair. And our last animal that we're going to warm our smiles up are the piglets. And for me, the piglets remind me of the state fair and taking my kids there and the squealing and me walking around with the pig ears and embarrassing them. So that is just to warm up our smiles. The second thing that we're going to do to warm up our smiles today is something called smile ups. And you want to thank me, they're not push-ups, but they're like push-ups for our faces. And so what we're going to do for our smile ups is just smile as hard as we can. I've got my friendly little smiling prop that I've added for our visual. So we're going to do 5 smile ups. So as I say smile up, I want you to just smile as big and hard as you can. So let's do a smile up. That's one. Another smile up. That's 2. Let's smile again. That's 3. And smile again. 4. And we're doing our last smile up. So let's do the biggest smile that we can. And now we've got our smiles warmed up. The next thing we're going to do is warm up with a little bit of clapping. So I'm going to demo first and then join in with me, but it's going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and join me. We'll do that 3 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now that we've warmed up with some clapping, we're going to add some laughing to it. So it's going to go ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Now everybody join in with me. Ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, 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 ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Now that we're warmed up with our clapping and our smiling and a little bit of laughing, we're going to move into the laughter yoga exercises. So remember, fake it until you make it. I want to just warn all of you out there, it is contagious. So if there's someone else in the room with you, you may find that they are laughing. As we move through this, you may find that you're laughing so hard that you aren't going to hear when we're ready to go on to our next laughter. So in order to do that, signal you that we're moving on to a new laughter. We're going to be going very good, yay. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. So go ahead and join in with me. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Nice job. Now you're muted, so I'm assuming everybody is vigorously joining in with me. Next, we're going to start off with our first laugh. So normally we meet in person, we'll be doing a handshake with a little laugh to get to know everybody in the room. In our times of COVID, we're not able to do that. So we're going to be doing that COVID handshake, which is that elbow forward. So we'll be shaking with our elbows and then we'll be adding our own laughs to it. So go ahead and join me with your best laugh. Very good, yay! Very good, yay! Very good, yay! Now we're gonna move on to our next laugh, and it's a laugh that all of you should be familiar with, and this is our Santa laugh. So our Santa laugh, we're going to be doing those big belly laughs, that big ho, ho, ho. You might notice I embellish and add a few things to it. You might see me driving my sleigh or throwing my sack of toys back. So feel free to add that to your belly laughs. So we're going to go ahead and start off with our Santa laugh. So our great big ho-hos. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. Ho, 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 ho. I'm Donner. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Now Santa has a really big job, and we know that he does not do that all on his own. We know that Mrs. Claus is doing a lot behind the scenes. So we're going to do our best Mrs. Claus laugh to honor her, and that is going to be a high-pitched ho, ho, ho. So please join me with your best Mrs. Claus laughs. Bring out those high-pitched ho, ho, ho's. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Very good, yay. Now our next laugh we're gonna do is my signature laugh, and that is the witch's cackle. So I think of your favorite witch, maybe a Halloween witch or the Wicked Witch from the West, and bring out your best witch cackle and join me. So let's hear those cackles. very good. Yay. I'm hoping all of you are experiencing a lot of laughter out there. Sometimes in life, our two choices are either to laugh or to cry when we're in those tough situations. There's hard things that we have to handle. So we are going to do one of those tough day laughs. I don't know about you, but those days where you spill. Every time you turn around, you're spilling something. So we're going to do a laughter on, oh no, I spilled. Go ahead and join me. Oh no, you spilled. I spilled again. Did you see Jill? She's spilling again. Oh no, I can't believe it. I spilled again. Very good, very good. Yay. Very good, very good. Yay. Very good, very good. Yay. Thank you for joining me for that laughter yoga. And I invite all of you to find ways to add some more laughter to your life and to get those benefits. Think about, is there someone that makes you laugh, that friend or family member? Is there a video or a movie that you just laugh so hard when you watch? Or spend some time with children. Children just naturally laugh a lot and get us laughing. So think about what makes you laugh and who. And as we close out, I invite you again to think about, what is your mood now? What is your energy level now? And how does that level of skepticism change? So thank you, and remember to laugh for the health of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patty. That was wonderful. Really, really appreciate it. So Patty has been just wonderful at coming into our support groups and doing the laughter yoga. And with the Memory Cafe too, and I know Kelsey will attest to this, we just like, it will trigger as you see other people laughing, and we've had like tears rolling down our face. So it was so good to laugh today. And thank you for the reminder, Patty, that that is so important, to find humor in our life, or to find the people that bring us the humor. I was going to put a picture up of my son, but I couldn't find it earlier. But he's my middle son is my comedian, and definitely he is the one that keeps me laughing every day. So thank you again, Patty. I feel like my face muscles got to work out today.
Thanks, Jill.
Yeah. All right, we're going to go back to the presentation. All right, everybody. So, oops, there we go. So again, thanks again, Patty. I think laughing is such an important thing. And for me, that's one of my favorite self-care things. So my mom I remember growing up in self-care, you know, my mom would call it a foo-foo term or a fluffy term, but really over the past few years, I think all of us have learned that importance of self-care. And for me, a few years ago, when my former husband was really ill and they didn't know what was going on with him, I was transitioning to full-time. I have 4 children and they were all 10 and under, and we were going back and forth to doctor's appointments and specialists. And I just remember just feeling that stress, but like no time for it. And I actually had a friend stop me and say, you know, Jill, you're a caregiver. You're going to burn out if you don't take some time to care for yourself. And I thought, right? I teach this to people. I teach how to practice great self-care, but I really wasn't internalizing it, and I really wasn't taking care of myself. And that over the years has really been my mission, is like, if I teach it, I need to also practice it. So for me, there's just 4 general guidelines to practicing good self-care. And that's really the self-awareness. And I think Patty mentioned this a little bit. It's like that self-check, that body scan that you want to think about where you're at, how you're feeling, how does your body feel? And then I would say to divide the mission of self-care into different categories. And we'll go through that a little bit later here. And then I think creating a self-care plan, it sounds weird, but it is so important. I know for me, if I write things down, I'm more likely to stick to it. And staying accountable to me means like who in your group, right? Or who in your tribe, as they say, who's going to help you stay accountable. So if that means that it's a friend that you can reach out to, or if it's a group where you all help each other stay accountable, I think to find those people that support you, that challenge you, but also give you those uplifts. So in practicing self-awareness, I think one of the first things that needs to be done is identifying your early warning signs of stress. So for me, oops, let me go back. Sorry about that, guys. For me, like if I'm at the headache stage, that's way past my first warning sign of stress. So kind of knowing where you're at with that. So for me, if one of my eyelids starts twitching, that's one of my first early warning signs of stress. So sometimes, again, it's just doing that deep breath and letting it out, right? That can recenter me and kind of get that stress level down. It might be irritability for some of you. It might be like my kids say sometimes, well, Mom, is something bothering you? You're a little snappy. It might look like forgetfulness. When we're tired, when we're not taking care of ourselves, we can feel forgetfulness, or we can be experiencing kind of forgetfulness, or we might be eating those comfort foods or not eating. So the other thing is looking at relationship stress, right? Because that can definitely affect and maybe our early warning signs of stress. If we're more crabby with people, it could be job related stress, like have you had a change in job or job roles? For me, this is a big one, right? The inability to say no. So really setting those boundaries and making sure that you take care of yourself, and it's okay to say no. Like giving yourself permission to say no is so, so important. Are there any underlying health issues? Important to get those checked out. If you haven't had a good physical in a while, go do that. Make sure there's no underlying health issues. Again, I'll give you the example. This is me practicing my own medicine. A few years ago, I was really tired and I just couldn't figure it out. Hate going to doctors, but when I did, I realized, okay, I have this health issue that needs to be addressed. So figuring that out really helped me on to that journey of self-care. Sleep is one of the biggest things for any of us. If we don't get enough sleep, it is really hard to function. So I know this is part of my new self-care plan is practicing good sleep habits. So let you know how that works out, but I'm still developing that plan for myself. And I also think huge one is unreasonable expectations. I think when I used to think about self-care, I'd have this really lofty goal, and then I wouldn't have like sub steps or how do I get to that goal? So, and just to me, it's not beating yourself up. If you have a day that you're not practicing that self-care, you can restart tomorrow. So the categories of self-care are, again, stress affects us in different ways. So looking at if you're having headaches, the fatigue, that's your body telling you, right? You need, your stress is affecting you in that way. You might be a worrier, or have that foggy thinking like I talked about before, and that's affecting your mind or your thinking. Emotional can look like depression. It can look like apathy or indifference or lack of confidence. And behavioral can be loss of appetite, insomnia, restlessness. I know for me, when I am stressed and I am worried, I'm having insomnia. I can't sleep. And I think to also point out that all these categories kind of can go, they fit along with each other. So you're not just maybe having body stress, you can be having many different stressors. So, so in looking at developing that personal plan of care, we really want to think about how do we address those issues. So if I'm feeling like stress in my body, maybe muscle tension or something, for me, that is then good for me to go take a walk or do some stretching exercises, maybe running, or some people would say massage or a bubble bath. If I'm feeling just stressed out in my mind and worried and I can't stop it, doing some mindfulness or some meditation. And we're really excited today because we do have Matt who will be joining us later, and he's going to lead a mindfulness exercise with us. The other thing I would say, and I think this is true for a lot of people, is listening to music. I know for me, music is a great healer. It's always been since I was a kid, and you can find music that fits your different moods. So if you need the uplift, to find that uplifting music. If you need, like, I know at night I play calming music to help me fall asleep. And just, again, it kind of fits in all areas of what you're feeling. So with emotional and spiritual well-being, I know I had a friend a few years ago that said, I take prayer walks. And I was like, oh my gosh, prayer walks, what's that? And she said, you know, I think about what it is I want to pray for during the day or for this day in this situation. And she does her morning walks that way. And I thought that was really cool. I also think it's kind of, it's changing our attitude, right? So sometimes we can say, well, I'm the worst at this, or this is the worst time. And I know I used to say to my kids, well, that's stinking thinking, right? And you have to change that, like flip that attitude. And finding those people that support you, again, talking with your friend or a coworker that's really helps you and supports you, and talking to others in similar situations is so important. So I know for me, part of my self-care journey was just looking at developing more healthy lifestyle. And so I am in this group that we support each other every day, and just sending text messages to each other, like, you know, hey, I'm not feeling it today to go on my walk today, but then getting that support from people saying, you know, that's okay, or why don't you just try to go half of the distance you normally go? Whatever that support looks like for you is so important. So behavioral, you know, changing maybe how we eat. So looking at more nutritious foods, drinking enough water. Dehydration really does affect us, not only physically, but emotionally, behaviorally. And as we age, we don't necessarily feel the thirst as much. So really important just to make that mental note of drinking enough water every day. Again, I did put the stinking thinking in here too, because I think sometimes it helps me just to say that to myself and to change my negative self-talk into positive self-talk. And I think one of the biggest things for me is knowing when a problem is not fixable, and being able to let it go for now. Because sometimes there are just situations that are so tough, and I have to be able to say, I need to let this go right now. Again, with relationships, setting those boundaries, but also knowing who to contact in the specific situations that you have or that you're dealing with. And then just, again, connecting to others in the same situation. And work, I think it's being able to leave work at work. And I know all of my supervisors who are on this over time know that that is always my challenge, but also knowing who to seek that support from your coworkers, and then having those boundaries to be able to say no. So I know I mentioned this sounds really strange, creating a detailed self-care plan, but really, when Kelsey and I teach the Powerful Tools for Caregivers class, that's one of the things I learned the most from when I trained to be a teacher for that class. It's just that importance of, if you write it down, you will likely be more successful in completing that self-care plan. So just some questions to consider. What does self-care look like for you? So what would you do for self-care? Does that mean massage for you? Does that mean walking? Does it mean more nutritious meals? Do you see yourself using certain approaches? Does it have to cost a lot? What's worked for you in the past? Can you look at what's worked for you in the past and maybe just make a small adjustment or tweak it? And then I think the largest thing to me is scheduling time for self-care. So I have where over my lunch break, I try to either ride my bike, my stationary bike for a few miles, or I try to go on my treadmill, or if it's nice outside, right, to get outside and take a brisk walk. Or sometimes what I might need for self-care over a certain day is just to sit out in the sun. Nothing like that fresh air to reset your brain. So self-care also means setting boundary markers. And what I mean by that is, like, that's your line in the sand. So setting aside that self-care time means, maybe I will not answer my phone during this time. I will not respond to personal or work emails. It may be, I won't check social media during that time, or that you won't worry about client issues or home issues, that you just really take that time for you. I think one of the huge things too is knowing your intention. And I wanted to read this quote by Wayne Dyer, and it's in his book called The Power of Intention. And he describes intention as a strong purpose of aim, accompanied by a determination to produce a desired result. And I think that is so true, that we have to be intentional about self-care, and we have to know what our intentions are. So for me, when I've listed my intentions, I've thought I will be content not to be an expert on self-care. And in all areas of self-care, I'm okay with continuing to learn. That I will listen to my body and give my body what it needs. So does it need nutritious food? Do I need sleep? Maybe I need to drink some water. And I will just celebrate myself for just being me. So to me, it's also self-care, celebrating our successes. So when we reach those goals, that we celebrate them. And then sometimes it really is taking care of our own needs before we take care of others. When I work with family caregivers, and you've all probably heard this, like, how they say on the airplane, if something were to happen, put your own oxygen mask on first before you help others. That's really what self-care is too. Just taking care of yourself. It's not selfish. It's being able to fill up your cup so that you can continue to do the work that you do, or continue to be present with your family and friends. And then for me too, it's breaking the self-care, any of my self-care goals into smaller steps, because it's more doable, and it's so, there's that sense of satisfaction when you can cross off some of those smaller steps off of your to-do list, if you will. But so, for example, I used to say, oh, okay, I'm going to develop a healthy lifestyle. And again, really hard for me to reach that because I wasn't breaking it down into smaller steps. So about 2 years ago, I started that journey, and I started with, I'm going to eat more nutritiously. And so then what does that look like? So then I started with, I'm ridding my cabinets of junk food. I'm going to read food labels. I'm going to do a better job of preparing healthy meals. So again, if you can just break it down into smaller steps, it really helps. And then I think it's important, once you get those plans set and once you develop those, is to reevaluate them. So it's important to look at what works, what doesn't work, what can you make adjustments to, and if you've fallen off of your self-care plan, just recommit to it, right? I think oftentimes we get involved in that negative thinking, well, I didn't do it yesterday and I didn't do it the day before, so now I'm done. I'm not going to do it again. But you can always go back and you can always recommit. So important for your own well-being. And I think too, after you've reached certain goals, what's your next step? Develop a new one if you need to develop a new self-care plan. So I did think it's important to talk about the results of neglecting stress too. We know stress can really affect us in all ways. Stress can affect our health problems, our sleep, it can increase health problems. It can cause high blood pressure. We can have a disruption in our relationships. Maybe they're more troubled, or we can experience that burnout. And by burnout, I mean that's just total exhaustion, where you just feel like in all areas of your life, things are really, really challenging. We can experience depression, or just feel like we're not able to function. I know when I kind of get in that kind of down mode, for me, it's like it's hard to get started on something. So that's a sign I need to step back and just look at, have I taken enough time for myself? Are there some things I do? Maybe do I need to reach out to help? And finding my support people. So the barriers to taking action, I think that's important to talk about too. It's like sometimes self-care, we just can't think of what to do. So how do we do that? Like we think self-care has to be really fancy or cost money. So sometimes it's just picking one thing and trying it. And if that doesn't work, don't get discouraged. Try something else. Sometimes we choose a difficult activity. I used to teach the Powerful Tools for Caregivers class with someone else, and she loves gardening. That was like her therapy and her self-care. Me, gardening is stressful for me. So that would be a stress-inducing kind of thing. I don't have a green thumb. I don't pretend to have a green thumb. So for me, stress reduction is, like I said, I walk a lot and I listen to music, and that just really helps me. So, so really thinking about, okay, maybe I chose something that was just a little too difficult for me. I'm going to try something else. I think oftentimes too, especially when we work in the field where we're helping people that can have really huge problems and really challenging problems, we postpone our own stress reduction. And I would say I'm totally guilty of this. I'll postpone my vacations. I'll postpone just taking time for myself. And so for me, that's probably my lifelong lesson is trying not to postpone that stress reduction. So when we say, oh, I need a vacation, right? That we don't take that vacation 6 months from now. Then I just wanted to give you some tips for self-care success. Stay positive when you're able to. And I'm not talking about Pollyanna, right? But just positivity does really help. And it's okay. It's okay to throw ourselves some pity parties sometimes. It's that if it lasts for more than 2 weeks, then we need to reach out for help. Talk to your doctor, reach out to a friend, or reach out to a mental health professional. It's so important. I try to surround myself with uplifting things and people. So I have a caregiver who her husband passed away in memory care, and she had to watch that through the window because she had transitioned him to memory care, and then COVID struck. It's really, really heavy. But what she has done is she has one wall kind of in her dining room area, and she just posts all of this, these comic strips or uplifting articles. Or like photos of her family. And she said, when I'm feeling really down, it just helps me to look over and see those positive things, those humorous things. And so anything that helps to give you those uplifts is so important. Again, setting a personal schedule, setting your goals. Like for me, after work is when I do my walking, or I go and do something with my kids, or, it's my time for myself. And I think I always say this to family caregivers, but remember, you are doing your best at any given moment in time with all the resources and knowledge you have at that time. So be gentle with yourself and kind of give yourself a pat on the back. And focusing on what you can control. Sometimes I know as a mom of 4, I want to control everything, and I want to control situations and not have my kids face difficulties, but really it's that practicing of letting go and really knowing what is in my control and being okay that some of this other stuff is out of my control. And then like I said, I'm part of this fitness group, and I do have a coach, and he sent this to me the other day. So I just thought this was so wonderful. As we're all working from home right now, this is my reminder to get up, get up from my computer, move around, drink the water, kind of check in with a friend. I know we're all working from home, and there's not as much of that water cooler chit chat or that over the cubicle chit chat, but to just check in with each other is so important. Focusing on the present moment, just, I try to say this with the family caregivers I work with. We can worry, but sometimes we're missing that present joyful moment right now. And I think that's important, creating those moments of joy for ourselves. Like I said, getting that fresh air really resets our brain, having a healthy snack. And you can hear more about this. The Self-Care Spotlight, it's actually a podcast, and it really has some interesting issues on there. So I love this. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. I think we all with technology lately have realized we sometimes just have to unplug our computer, and we just have to shut it down. But really true, when my kids were young, I always took their Game Boys or their phones if they were old enough. I took those away at night just so that they could just be unplugged and their brains could truly rest. So again, self-care looks like, deleting the app, muting a group chat. I know we have this family chat, and sometimes it's like really hard to kind of keep up with all of the messages. And I just have to say, I just have to take a break from it for now. And I think taking a nap, our brains work so hard, we're doing so much. It's okay to rest when you're able to. I would say a couple weeks ago, I had busy work week, and then I was running down over the weekend to take care of my mom and brother, and on a Saturday. And so that Sunday, I did take a nap. I was just I just needed that rest and not feeling guilty about it. So, and again, knowing when to let go, that's such a huge theme for me, because sometimes things are not fixable at this moment in time, and a solution may come later on. And then also, celebrate those successes. So I love when Patty was doing the laughing yoga, because that's kind of what I do with the caregiver group and Memory Cafe. And I know Kelsey does that with virtual respite, but we try to celebrate those successes so they can see that we're really cheering them on. So do that for yourself too. So just some more resources for you before Matt comes and joins us. So these are some of the fitness resources. I know I have the Share Care and the Fit On and Mighty Health. And I know some of us that work with the county were able to be involved with the Omada Health program, which really helped me on my journey. And then I just wanted to include some articles that can help you better filter out what fitness apps or health apps might work for you. And then the meditation. Now, again, Matt's going to do some mindfulness with us, but meditation really does reduce our blood pressure. It can help with our healing. It just really can help with our sleep, feeling balanced. And again, I'm including some links to articles about what are the best meditation apps, and then just some online video resources where you can find some free videos. And then also the Powerful Tools for Caregivers has 2 free downloadable meditations that Kelsey and I like to use for our clients. And I would say my favorite one is the one about the ocean. And you can see in the background is a quilt that my sister made. My mom, our mom, grew up by the ocean in Maine, and her father was a lighthouse keeper. And so my mom doesn't want to have it where she is right now, so she allows me to use it. But this always brings me joy. This just the colors of the ocean, and having grown up by the ocean myself out in Maine, it just when I listen to that meditation on Powerful Tools, it brings me right back to the spots I used to hang out at the beach at when I was a kid. So benefits of yoga, of course, I'm not going to go through all these, but again, I've provided a link to help you find those free yoga resources. And yoga really, truly, I just started a Rise and Flow yoga program. Not that great at it, and I'm trying not to have those unrealistic expectations of myself, but I really have noticed a change when I do the Rise and Flow yoga in the morning. I have more energy, I'm feeling more balanced, and it is really improving my strength and flexibility. So I would say give it a try. This is a sheet that I will send out with the PowerPoint, and this can be put on the website, but it's a tool that we use in our Powerful Tools for Caregivers class. And it just has some great ideas, because sometimes people don't know, again, what to try for self-care. So just a list of things that caregivers who have taken the class have tried. And so, so maybe reading poetry, like I said before, gardening is on there for me. That's stressful. That would increase my stress. But it helps to give you an idea of where to start and maybe what to explore. All right. And so my contact information, thank you so much. It was so great to be able to present today. And like I mentioned before, we're going to have a mindfulness session with Matt.
All right. Thank you so much, Jill. That was wonderful.
Yep, and let me
So-
stop sharing. Sorry about that, Sue. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, now I would like to introduce my colleague, Matthew Limberg, who is a therapist at the Carlson Center. So Matt, go ahead, take it away.
All right. So yeah, my name is Matt Limberg, and I've kind of been practicing, being a therapist and teaching mindfulness are just so integrated to how I work with clients. So I find it also so helpful for myself, and so it's great to share. And again, I always talk about mindfulness is all about really working on being in the present, being in the moment in our lives, not looking in the rearview mirror or getting too ahead of ourselves. So the more that we can just be in the present. So again, it's a big part of how I do my therapy practice. It's typically like, again, I'll do a check-in and we'll kind of how things are going and what somebody's looking for. But it is very integrated into how I provide care. So I'm always will talk to clients about creating a mindful moment in our sessions. And then my always hope is that to share it in the session, but my hope is that you to develop a practice, like talking about the self-care piece of making it just part of how you exist in a lot of ways is what I talk a lot about. So, and I find, I just want to kind of jump in and just teach a practice. I have a favorite that I love teaching and have been teaching for years is the body scan. So the body scan is a nice foundational mindfulness practice. It really gets us in touch with our body and grounded and centered. It can be really helpful for, again, if you have trouble sleeping or you just need to settle. Like I work a lot with people with do trauma or anxiety or have depression or just, this pandemic and just dealing with the stress of that. And now we're like trying to, how do I get back out of the house? I've been in the house for over a year. How do you make all these adjustments? So again, I just try, and I found mindfulness has been so helpful for my clients, but also just so helpful for me. So I'm going to walk you through a body scan today. So I want you to imagine just focusing on the bottom part of your left foot, the sole arch, the heel. Focus on the top part of your left foot, just sending a healing, compassionate breath to your big toe, the rest of your toes. Focus that healing breath on your left ankle, your left shin and calf. Focus that healing, compassionate breath on your left knee, the top of your knee, sides of your knee, back of your knee. Focusing your breath on your quadricep, your hamstring. I just imagine sending that healing, compassionate breath throughout your whole left leg. Letting go of any tightness, stress, any discomfort in your left leg. Focus on the bottom part of your right foot, heel, arch, the sole. Sending that healing, compassionate breath to your big toe, the rest of your toes of your right foot. Focus on your right ankle. Right shin and calf. Your right knee. Top of your right knee, the sides of your right knee, the back of your right knee. Focus on your quadricep, your hamstring. And again, just send that healing, compassionate breath to your right leg, just letting go of any stress, tightness, any discomfort or pain in your right leg. Focus that healing, compassionate breath to your groin area, pelvis, your buttocks, just imagine letting go of any stress, any discomfort in that part of your body. Focus on your stomach, your abdomen, all of your organs. Sending that healing, compassionate breath, letting go of any pain, tightness, or stress in that part of your body. Focus on your low back. You can hold so much stress, tightness, pain, or discomfort in our low back. Just imagine just letting that all go. Focus on the middle of your back. Your upper back. Just imagine letting go of any stress, tightness, any discomfort or pain in your back. Sending healing, compassionate breath throughout your whole back. Focus on your chest, that heart that just keeps beating, keeping you going, giving you life. Just sending compassion and healing breath to your chest area. Focus on your shoulders, feeling them from the inside out. Sending that compassion and caring breath to your shoulders. Imagine them going from ice to water. Focus on your left hand, your thumb, fingers, palm of your left hand, top of your left hand. Focusing that healing breath on your left wrist and forearm, your left elbow, bicep to tricep. Just imagine letting go of any tightness or stress, discomfort or pain in your left arm. Focusing on your right hand, your thumb, fingers, palm of your right hand, top of your right hand. Focusing that healing, compassionate breath on your right wrist, your forearm, your right elbow, your right bicep and tricep. Just imagine letting go any stress, tightness, discomfort, or pain in your right arm. Focus on the back of your neck. Can hold so much stress and strain with all the screen work and driving. Just sending healing, compassionate breath to the back of your neck. Just imagine letting go of all that, any tightness or stress. Any pain or discomfort in the back of your neck. Focus on the front of your neck. Focus on your jaw. You can move the jaw around a little bit. It can hold so much stress and tightness in our jaw and not even be aware. Just imagine letting that go, sending that healing, compassionate breath to your jaw. Focus on your cheekbones,
Jeremy,
your nose,
Jacob, I mean, not Jeremy. Oh,
your ears, eye sockets, your eyes, eyelids, eyebrows, and temples, forehead. Just imagine letting go of any tightness, stress in your face. Focus on your skull, that amazing brain. Sending healing, compassionate energy. Your scalp, follicles of your hair. Just imagine sending that healing, compassionate breath throughout your whole body. Letting go of any remaining stress or tightness, any discomfort or pain. Start moving the fingers, opening the eyes. And come back into the room. So again, it can be such a nice kind of gift to give to yourself. You know, take this moment for yourself. I encourage, just taking that time to, just kind of ground yourself. You can find resources like on YouTube, put body scan in, or there's different ways that you can get a body scan. It's a good, powerful healing practice. All right.
Thank you so much, Matt and Jill and Patty. If anyone has any questions at this time, you can either type them in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you surely could do that too. I did want to just mention that we will be sending out certificates of attendance via email to everyone who attended, and also a link for an evaluation. So if you want to check your email for that, and then I will also put it in the chat. I'm still a little just super relaxed from that mindfulness exercise. I don't know about everyone else, but it was wonderful to be able to just check in and really kind of hone in and just be present. And I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So Gail, I'm not sure if you want to talk about the wrap up.
Just reiterate what you said, Kathy. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask or put them in the chat. And thank you again to Jill, Patty, and Matt. What a fun afternoon. I wish all afternoons could go this well. Thanks for great presentations, all three of you. And thank you everyone for coming.